This video will show you 3 ways to reprogram your beliefs about money and abundance, and I'm going to share with you ways that I did that in my own life to have some of the opportunities that I currently have. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the definitions that I have about abundance, how when I changed the way that I define abundance, everything began to change. Now, I think I may have explained this in a couple videos before, but recently I have the opportunity to fly down to Costa Rica to stay in a resort for 7 days, and I believe that one of the reasons that this actually happened was because I changed my perspective for the way that I see abundance. Otherwise, maybe I would have looked at that email and kind of bypassed it because it wasn't an equal trade that said, hey, we'll give you money for this. It was an opportunity. So what happened was a company reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love for you to try our hotel out. We believe it's something that you'll really resonate with. And it was an opportunity that came in a couple weeks ago, and at the end of November, I'm going to Costa Rica for a week and going on this journey. Now, originally, the way that I defined the definition of abundance was through strictly the idea of money. But what I did is I started to look at it at a completely new way. Instead of seeing money as the main thing I'm focused on, I realized that more so what I want is the emotion that money brings. I want the ability to have freedom to do what I want, the freedom to travel, the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And the time and the moment that I decided that's the way I was going to see the world, within 2 or 3 weeks, I got that email, and that's why now I'm able to go, and I'm going to be going to Costa Rica for that. So the idea behind this is what is entailed with redefining what abundance is and what are ways that abundance could really come to us. Well, the first thing I want to share with you is that simply redefining what abundance means to us changes everything. Now, I want to ask you a question. What are the different ways that money or abundance can come to you? Now, most people just assume that you have to work and then you get the money. But what if instead what we did is realized that abundance can come through with gifts? Abundance can come through with opportunities. Abundance can come through with trades. You trade something for something else. It doesn't have to be the strict way that we think of a transaction as you do something and you get money in return. It could be so many different ways, and what I want to ask you to do is to start to see different ways that abundance could come to you. Maybe it's somebody offers you the ability to travel with them, and then you could document that experience. Maybe it's somebody gives you the ability to trade your services for something else. There's so many different ways we can go about it, but the first way is to use our imagination to see and ask ourselves the questions of how can abundance come into my life. The moment I started to do this and I started to see that, hey, with the YouTube channel, there's ways that I could trade attention and, like go do these cool things and share the experience in a trade for something else. So you see, I started to redefine it, and the moment I did that was the moment certain opportunities, and there have been other opportunities, this is just one that I chose because it's something that I actually want to do. So the question is how do you see money and how do you see abundance coming into your life? The moment you start to redefine what that is, you'll find that you start to have a very different experience to it. You start to really relate to money in a completely new way. So that's what I did, is I started to redefine the ways that money could come into my life, and the moment I did that was the moment things really started to pick up and just opportunities started to show up. So that's the first thing. The second thing has to do with finding the money belief that we have and where that belief came from. So the idea, as I say with the law of attraction, more so powerful than the law of attraction is knowing that our beliefs will create our experience. So if we believe that money comes very hard to us, it doesn't come very often, if we believe that money has a connotation of being bad, we're actually going to block it from coming into our experience because it negates what we think or believe to be true. So the key to this is a question, because when we ask a question, our brain then looks for the answer. So ask yourself the question, what would I have to believe is true to be having this experience of lack, or to be having this experience of when it comes to money being something bad? And when you look at that, you may find that there's a memory that comes up of when you were young. Maybe a memory of when you were 8 years old and a family member told you something, told you you couldn't have that because they couldn't afford it. or maybe told you that money was bad, or like wealthy people weren't good people. Whatever it is, when you start to ask yourself the question, you'll start to find it. The next step to this is looking at that situation and neutralizing it. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It may have served you up until this point, but now just consciously decide to let it go. It no longer serves me. Anytime I have those repetitive thoughts in the future, I realize it just doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm gonna decide to let it go. So it's more of a conscious choice than anything else. Now the other side to this, and this is something I love talking about because I think it was the biggest epiphany when it comes to abundance to me, is realize that when it comes to abundance, there is an abundance of everything. There's an abundance of whatever we focus on, because whatever we focus on, we feel, and whatever we focus on will grow. If we're focused on lack, it's not that lack is actually there, it's that there is an abundance of lack because of our focus. So we're actually seeing an abundance of something, it's just that something is a lack. So what are we focused on? Are we focused on things not being here? Because if so, we're gonna get an abundance of things not being here. You see, it's a very funny play on words, but this simple idea was an epiphany for me. I realized that what am I focused on, and is it something that's serving me? If I'm focused on a belief in lack, if I'm focused on these things not being here, then I will constantly get more of that experience. Now the third thing has to do with tagging your passion and what you love doing onto the idea of abundance. Now this is very powerful, because then what you can start to do is to follow your excitement more so than just following the dollars or following where you think the dollars are. You'll find that anytime you do something and you start to gain powerful emotion, or you start to really do what you love, money just starts to show up in more powerful ways because you are aligning with your passion, and that's a much faster route than going down the resistance. There's much less resistance when you're doing your passion or your excitement for a living. But also, it's easier to focus on what you're passionate about or what you're excited about in the moment than it is of trying to create a certain type of money or an amount in your life. So what I encourage you to do is to tag your passion or what you love doing with the idea of abundance, and just simply trusting that as you go in that direction, you will find more and more experiences that reflect that back to you. Now also realize that what I like to do is add another caveat onto this. Instead of just it being about my passion and my excitement, I also tag onto that adding value to other people. Now this means that even if you're not in necessarily the service industry, or you're not in the industry of giving value to people or giving like content to people, think about this in the way of being an artist. You, instead of just, I love painting, which that's great, there's nothing wrong with that, but you love painting, you love creating and the artistic expression, at the same time, have a little bit of an intention there to add value with your art to other people, giving it and realizing that when people experience your art, it makes them feel a certain way. Tag it into an emotion. This allows it to give it like a greater purpose, to kind of expand it outside of ourselves. And I found that when I have the intention of doing these videos and giving value and just giving as much as I can to you guys, there's a much different energy than if I'm just doing it for some egotistic purpose, So I find that I love doing these videos, I love making these videos, but if I put the intention of adding value into it as well, you guys can feel that. I get so many people that comment on the videos and are like, I really feel like you care. I really feel like you're doing this because you love to help people. And that's so true. Like, I love helping people. I love sharing these ideas. And I think that part of that is because I associate and know that if I expand it outside of myself, there's so much more to give. There's such a different feeling with that. So I encourage you to look into your passion, to look into your excitement, to add value to other people, to also know that as you redefine your beliefs about abundance, redefine what abundance means, realize abundance is everywhere. It's just a matter of focus. There is no lack. There may be an abundance of lack, but there's no real lack of anything. Remember that whatever you focus on, you feel. Whatever you focus on will grow. Pinpoint that money belief that you have and realize you can simply decide to let go of that memory. And as you do, you will get a completely new reflection in your life. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification gear so that you're able to see the daily videos that I do. I also put a free PDF in the description box for you guys on the top 3 law of attraction techniques that have changed my life. So feel free to download that if you want as well. So other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, much love, namaste.